Hi, welcome back to my channel Clicks to Reels. This is Neeraj. We are going to continue the series of Lightroom editing today. My last video, you saw we edited a kingfisher photo that I took. I think we did basic cropping, color correction, etc. Now today we are going to slightly go ahead and do a little bit more into Lightroom. Maybe we are going to look at probably masking a little bit and more focused on masking today, so that we all know how to make those photos look professional, more uh, uh, have some pop in it, maybe change the background a little bit. So we're going to look at masking. Okay, so let's open Lightroom. I'm going to go back. So this was, if you remember, this was the photo. We did a little cropping, we added slight vignette, we added some effects, some clarity. I also said don't increase clarity too much, so I want to stick to this. So today we are going to look at something called as masking. So if you see this menu here, this this slightly circular with a dotted line, that's the masking one. So if I click on that, I go here, and then if I say, I have different options here: select subject, select sky, select background. So this is all Lightroom features. So generally, there's a lot more to it in Lightroom to this, but we are not going to cover everything today. We are just going to cover how do we select a subject and how do we select a background, and how it is really helpful to create that pop on the image, right? So let's go ahead and select subject. So if you see here, when I said select subject, Lightroom automatically identifies the subject and puts a red kind of a mark on this one. If you want to hide that, or you want to hide it, you can probably just click on that and say hide. But I want to see it so that I know what is the highlighted subject here. Also, from the mask menu, you see these plus and minus buttons here. So if you click on the plus one and you just say you want to say add to mask one, like add some more part of the subject or subtract, right? So in this case, you see that the red mark, some of the kingfisher part here, the blue part is not selected as a subject, and then some of the twigs here is selected as a subject. I don't want that actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a plus and minus. I'm going to use both. So when I say plus, what I want to do is I want to add something to the mask, right? So if I want to add something to the mask, I say add to mask one. And how am I going to add this is I'm going to choose the brush. So what that means is I'm going to use my brush to select which areas I want. So I am actually, you can't see my finger, but I am actually rubbing it on the back of the kingfisher, the blue area actually. And then here on the left here, you can decrease and increase the size of the brush. So I want to make sure that I have this size here, and then this is the feather part. So generally I like to keep feather around 40 to 60. I'm gonna use probably 52 right now, and then just increase the size of the brush. So using that size, I'm gonna brush behind on the kingfisher so that I select that. So if you see on the left here, like on the right, sorry, you see that the thing gets highlighted with more uh, whiter shade here so that you know which part is selected. You can also look at it this way. There's more red around the kingfisher. The other thing I wanted to do was also remove the twig area, so I'm going to subtract from the mask. Again, I'm going to select brush and I'm going to remove this bottom part. So see the bottom part, I'm removed it. So now that part is gone from the subject mask. So now basically I have the kingfisher and a little part of the twig on or as a subject mask. So the other thing I want to do is, if you see that not the entire beak is selected, so I'm gonna again go to a add mask and then select a brush. I'm gonna decrease the size so that I rub it only on the beak and not select the other ones. So as I'm rubbing around the beak, right? So now if you see in that area here, that you see the entire kingfisher kind of selected, right? So so now I'm gonna if you see now the red part is around the kingfisher. So now so that's how I selected the kingfisher as the subject mask. Now as a background, I want everything but my subject. So what I'm going to do is click on this and then say duplicate and invert mask one. So what it does is it creates a duplicate of this but inverts everything, so everything but the subject is selected. So this is what happened. So now I have two masks. One is the background mask and one is the subject mask. So with the background mask, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the light a little bit, the exposure, so that it looks slightly darker on the back. Then I'm going to increase the contrast a little bit, probably around 20s, so that it gives that little pop on the background. So other than that, I'm not going to make any changes right now to the background, but I think that's it for the background. So if I'm just going to go ahead and say yes, and now if you see the background now and how it was before, you see the difference, right? If you just touch the screen and you know how it is. So now if you remember, in the last editorial we changed the background a little bit, did a few edits, color corrections, etc., make it more look bluer because we already had the green, and then now we decrease the exposure only of the background. So that is where mask really helps, is it really helps only to change the background and not impact the entire image. So now we are going to change a little bit on the subject. Right now let's say I want the kingfisher, our subject, to slightly have larger exposure. So generally it's not a good idea to increase the exposure too much and also decrease it too much, because then it kind of creates a boundary around the subject and the background, which doesn't really look good. So you leave it like that. So I increase the exposure, and I also want to increase the sharpness of the subject a little bit. And if you remember the last time, we also had I'm going to accept this and just say, so now we have this image, and if I click on this is how it was, this is how it is after changing all the masks, right? Like, the other thing I want to do now is, last time we increased the vignette to like -21. I'm gonna increase it slightly more. Sorry, I changed the midpoint slightly more so that it looks more darker around. And again, if I go back, this is how it was, this is how it is now. So now you see that there's more of a pop. Like, you can see that there is a difference between how it is how it's popping in front of the eyes. So it's really beautiful how Lightroom helps you change that background. I'm a big fan of masking. I never edit any image without any masking function. So there's a lot more that we can do to change masks, but let's look at it in our following videos. Hope you like this one, and like and subscribe, and we'll do more advanced editing, more getting into mask. I'll show you linear masks, I'll show you radial masks in the next one. More to come. Thank you so much for watching. Clicks to Reels. Thank you.